Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the show. Today's guest is Lorien Clemens from PetHub. She is the COO of the company and has been involved since the beginning. PetHub has some unique products to protect your pet and make it easier to reunite with them if they become lost. The unique technology they use is a great addition to traditional chipping of pets. As you will hear, it is more than just dogs and cats that can use this technology.
Hi, Lorien. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at PetHub?
I would be happy to. So my name is Lorien Clemens. I am a co-founder and COO of PetHub. And it's funny, we joke that I am the chief officer of everything else because I do so many different things here at PetHub, and I've done almost every job at PetHub except actually coding the software. Although I go in and I test the software and I break the software regularly. But I started off, PetHub started in 2010, and it was started by my then boyfriend and now husband, Tom Arnold, after he left Microsoft. And I, at the time, was in curriculum development with Montessori schools and really in the education sphere. And so, but I was helping him along the way, because that's what you do with your partner. And I said at some point, hey, I'm thinking about leaving education, and I would love to help you in some way, because what you're doing is so inspiring, what he was doing to help pets and everything. So he said, okay, cool. And so I came in to basically figure out how to do customer care for PetHub and what they were going to do with marketing. But it's kind of morphed into everything else. And so when you say what's your role at PetHub? At this point, I help every single team get unblocked and be as efficient as they possibly can. That's, chief operating officers. That's really what my job is. But I really help lead the marketing efforts, and I give a ton of support to the sales team and business development stuff. So I kind of do a little bit of everything.
How would you describe PetHub? What is the core business of PetHub?
So the core business, that's a tricky question, because we have evolved so much over the last few years. And so we started off, our mission, as it was protect, share, and nurture. We wanted to be a central place where a pet parent could go and manage their pet's life and take care of all the different things that come up. And it started with this moment in Tom's life where he was on a trip to India. This is before he and I met, actually, where he was on a trip to India, and he had pet sitters taking care of his two cats back in Seattle. And a 1-month trip for a job for Microsoft in India turned into a 3-month project. And all of a sudden, his pet sitter was like, I'm sorry, I can't actually continue to care after this 1 month because of other things that they had going on. And here he was, in Hyderabad, India, and scrambling to be able to get pet care for his pet, and not having everything he needed in one place, and having to, get all these things. I'm working for Microsoft, one of the greatest technology companies in the world, and we can do all these amazing things for humans. Why isn't there some easy way for me to communicate the things that I need for my pet's life? So this started the idea for him. And then when he got home, soon after he got home, went outside to go into the garage where the cat's litter box were, and they had never had an issue with the cats getting out before. But for whatever reason, on this particular day, cat was in there doing her business in the litter box. He opened up the garage door, something spooked her, and she bolted out. Mm-hmm. And then he was like, again, he had that feeling of, where is everything? What do I do? And who do I call? And oh wait, is her microchip up to date? Was she wearing her collar and tag? I don't remember. Well, the number that was on the microchip isn't where I live anymore. And how do I update that? And who do I call? And all these different things. It's like this panic that he had of not knowing where to go, who to call. Nothing was in one place. Where was the last picture he took of her? He didn't know. So he's scrambling. It's been hours trying to pull everything together just to look for this cat, who did, by the way, come home at 2:00 in the morning, after he had had a panic 18 hours, or whatever. But so he was left here with 2 times right in a row of feeling this panic and this unease about not having everything in one place. He thought, this is ridiculous. There needs to be a place where a pet parent can put everything together. So that kind of built his idea of PetHub. And we decided to start with the idea of protect, because that really was the most frightening part, was your pet's lost, now what? And realizing that, the only thing that he had to get her home was the microchip. And it was so confusing as to how he was even supposed to keep that up to date. And if she had her tag on, he realized that it was really out of date information that was on the only tag that he had for her. And we are a mobile society that moves around a lot, and we change things a lot. And in our modern society, having a tag with stamped metal ID tag or etched metal ID tag with one piece of information just doesn't cut it anymore. So that's how the idea of PetHub started. And we started with that protect piece. And then Tom, pretty quickly after starting PetHub in late 2009, came up with the idea of, what if I had a QR tag, a QR code put on an ID tag that linked to an online profile where everything that I needed for my pet was kept. And then if I needed to change something quickly, I could just change it on this profile. I don't have to worry about changing the ID tag and getting a new ID tag every time my information changes. So that's kind of how PetHub started. Now it's morphed into a lot more, which we can get into in just a bit, but that's really how PetHub started.
So you started that QR code very early on. I'm surprised to hear that was almost in the beginning stages of it.
Yeah. In fact, I'll never forget this, the day. So Tom was at a Founder Institute event down in San Francisco, and he had never heard of QR codes before. They were brand new, relatively brand new. They were invented by Toyota, actually, in Japan, and Toyota had decided to make it an open source technology. And so he was listening to a seminar about how to use it in marketing, and it was this brand new thing that was out there. He thought, what if I took it and put it on an ID tag? And so he that night he sent me an image, and he goes, okay, you see this little black squiggly line thing? I was like, okay, yeah. He goes, okay, put this app on your phone and scan that. And so I scanned it, and there was some message, I can't remember what it was, but basically like, this is a QR code or something like that. And I was like, okay. He goes, okay, hang on just a second. And I hear him furiously typing. He goes, okay, scan it again. So I scanned it again with my phone, and the message changed. I was like, oh, that's awesome. He goes, and then he told me about the idea for the QR tag. I thought, that's brilliant. And that night he filed a patent on it. And we filed several. We have multiple patents pending on the technology, but that was the first piece of technology that kind of started to pull together this idea that you can have all of the information in one place, and it can be adaptable, and you can actually use your data to help you manage your pet's life in all these different situations. And you're not tied to these, the ID tags that are still standard in most pet licensing and rabies tags, and even what you can get at your local, Petco or PetSmart or whatever. That was invented before the Civil War, that idea of a metal etched ID tag. So it was high time that we start using technology that was invented in this century and that actually fits our modern lifestyle.
You mentioned it when his cat got out, that he was worried that the information on the chip wasn't up to date or the latest info. And the thing I think of when I think about chipping pets, all of our pets have always been chipped, but it's not as convenient as being able to, somebody finds your pet, they can just scan that code and all the information comes up. Whereas if they're chipped, you have to take them to the vet or somebody that can scan that chip and then go search that on the computer. Is that the main advantage, or are there any other advantages to the PetHub tag over chipping?
Well, there's a lot of advantages. And I will say, first and foremost, chip your pet. That it is the ultimate safety net. We are not ever going to say, hey, you shouldn't chip your pet. But as you say, there's a lot of things that have to go right in order for the microchip to work. The information has to be up to date. And according to some industry standards within the microchip industry, up to 52% of microchips are either not ever registered or are out of date. Oh, wow. So that's a lot. And if you talk to veterinarians, they're like, oh yeah, all the time we scan it and the information's either not there, it's never been registered, or it's completely out of date, and we're chasing down rabbit holes trying to find the current owner. So that's an issue. You also have to hope that somebody that finds your pet will know that they need to take the pet in to get scanned and will feel comfortable taking the pet in to get scanned at either a shelter or a veterinarian. Let's face it, in several communities, there's such a bad rap against the local shelter because of euthanasia or breed specific laws, things like that, that there are people who are very hesitant to take an animal in to get scanned, even if they know that that's what they should do, because they're afraid that as soon as they take that pet in, that pet won't make it out of the shelter alive. And the statistics, frankly, in some places hold out for that. Now, the good news is there's a huge no-kill movement across the United States that it makes that reduces that chance, but it's still there, and people still have that assumption that it's there. So you have to rely that the people are actually going to take it in, and that they know that that happens. But then you have to hope that the microchip has not moved. You have to hope that the scanner that's being used is a universal scanner, or at the very least, a scanner that will read the RFID signature on your microchip. Because here's the thing, there are at least 4 different frequencies used on microchips that are here in the United States. And a lot of microchip companies, when they sell microchips into a shelter or a veterinarian, they will give it to them with a scanner. That scanner is made to scan that type of microchip. So there are microchips that will scan the bigger range and will catch all the RFID signatures that are out there, the ranges that are out there, frequencies, but not all of them do. And especially in rural communities, you can't guarantee that your local shelter and or veterinarians are going to have it. And of course, you don't know who they're going to go to. They might go to a shelter that does have a universal scanner, yay. Or they might get picked up and taken to a veterinarian. The veterinarian says, I don't see anything. And they're like, oh gosh, I guess he's going to become my cat now. So, you're relying on a lot of things to go right with the microchip. And so that's why we say external ID is always necessary. We say never let your pet go naked. A lot of people complain about, I don't want to have my pet wear a collar or all these different things. And there's a lot of reasons why you might not want to have your pet wear a collar. And I'll talk, if I have time, a little bit about some solutions that are out there for that. But allowing your pet to go naked is basically saying, I'm okay with taking the chance that all these things are going to go right with the microchip. And the statistics hold out that they're not going to, because still to this date, an overwhelming percentage of pets, once they get lost into the shelter, never get home again.
I didn't realize there were no frequency. I mean, not a standard frequency for pet tags. I didn't realize you could have a few different ones.
Well, and that's part of, so capitalism is a two-edged sword, right? So, that's one of those things that in the EU, for example, they now require that everything is with a specific frequency, and every microchip that's put into an animal has to be within this range. And they also have a huge percentage of pets that are chipped because it's a requirement there that your pet is chipped, whereas here it's something you can choose to do or not. And we actually have a fairly low percentage of pets. Depending on which statistics you look at, it's anywhere between 5 to 15 to 20, maybe 20% of pets are microchipped, which is again, people have the choice to do what they want to do here in this country, and that's a two-edged sword. It also means that there's a ton of pets out there that are not properly identifiable when they're in a lost situation, and you're gambling with your pet's life when you do that. We also have most municipalities require pet licensing, and a ton of pet parents don't even know that they're required to license their pet. But at the end of the day, it's the single way you can prove that that is your pet. That's how you prove ownership. So if somebody does take your pet and assumes that they don't belong to anybody, or that no one cares, nobody's coming to look for him, and they take them as their own, you don't have any way to get that pet back legally unless you can prove ownership through pet licensing. So there's a lot of things that people don't know about. That's why we're having conversations like this.
Yeah, I have to be honest here. We do have our dog chipped. I don't know how to change the information in that chip. I'm guessing from listening to you that I have to take her back to the vet and have it done. It's not.
There's a couple ways you can do it.
There? Okay.
Yeah. So let me go through like some of the things that you can do to figure out what kind of chip it is. You can take your pet back to the vet, get them to scan it, assuming that they have a universal scanner. A lot of vets do, particularly in bigger cities now, or certainly your local shelter should have a universal scanner. And they'll tell you who is the manufacturer, because the code range that's at the beginning of the number, they can tell what manufacturer it is. And so then you can reach out to that manufacturer directly and then get it changed, get the information updated. It can be
Okay.
tricky though. Some of them charge money to change it. They have to make money somehow. They're not doing it out of the goodness of their heart. No business does things out of the goodness of their heart, even if they have the best intentions. So very often we'll require a change fee for that. But the other issue comes, and doesn't happen as often, but it does happen. There are microchip companies that have either been absorbed by other microchip companies or have gone out of business. And so sometimes you might be stuck with I don't have a way to do this, particularly with older dogs or cats. And so the other thing that I always recommend that you do is you register them on free microchip registries. My favorite is Found Animals. They're probably the widest. So you just go to foundanimals.org. It's a Michelson's Foundation group. It is completely free to you. And you put their microchip number into that registry. You put all of your information. And so that is the second line of defense. So the very first thing, when the chip is scanned, they take that number, they're going to put it into this thing that's called the AHA. It's the American Animal Hospital Association lookup tool. And that will tell them who the manufacturer is and then give them the information to call the manufacturer. So they will call that number and then get the information there. But if you're not registered or you're not up to date there, then their next step is to go to Found Animals or similar type of national databases. Found Animals, like I said, is the biggest and the one that I would go to first and foremost. But there are others out there, and you can register your chip with all of them if you want to. You can also attach your chip number to your PetHub ID tag, which is another one of those benefits of having PetHub. You can put your PetHub license, you can put your pet license number on there, you can put your microchip number on there, you can put your rabies tag license number on there. You can also attach pet insurance information, any behavioral information that you want to put on there, all types of stuff that might help your pet in a critical situation can all be put and updated at any time. Not to mention, you can put however many emergency contacts you wish into their pet safety circle. And that's another thing for a lot of microchip companies. They allow you to have maybe 2 up to 3 before they make you pay. Because again, they're trying to make money, and I get that. Our profile is free. We have services that you can purchase, but the basic profile and as many emergency contacts as you wish, it's changeable at any time. You can update it anytime, 100% for free.
Yeah, we actually have the Pet Hub. We use it. So I'm starting to understand the hub part of the pet is having all that information in one location. And we have it because we live in our RV and we travel often. And we just like the fact that we can go in there and update the information. But we also appreciate the fact that you can put a little bit of personality description in there, because Belle has a lot of personality, and she's skittish around strangers at first. She acts aggressive even though she's not. So it's nice that all that information can be in there and just easily scanned by the phone. In fact, we have a great example of this. Sean and I did this as a practice. We were camping together and we'd never tried it before, but Sean was like, oh, let me check out this little QR code that's on Belle's collar. He scanned it, and Sabrina and I both got emails, and I believe a text message as well, saying that somebody had scanned, which we were totally blown away. We didn't realize that what was going to happen. It actually freaked us out. We're like, oh my goodness, are we about to get charged for this?
Well, if you did get the notification, it's likely because you have our premium services, because the notifications. So this is how PetHub Basic and Premium works. It's a great chance to chat a little bit about that. So our basic 100% free profile, the 24/7 call center that's on the back of every ID tag is 100% free to you. So, a real human being is there around the clock, picks up the phone, helps facilitate that pet getting home. It's not a robo system or anything like that. I mean, you have to push one button to say, like, I found a lost pet. Click that, and then you get a human being. And so they help facilitate that. They also help get it to the next level if they need to call animal control or something like that. So that's free to you. So the premium stuff has a lot of different things, and that's also where the fun hub stuff comes into. So let's talk about the lost pet recovery stuff. So you and your partner got the text and the email. Anybody that was on the safety circle, frankly, got that same notification that the pet's tag had been scanned. If the person shared their GPS location, we asked, may we share your location with the owner of this pet? Then you also got a map of where the pet was found, which can be extremely helpful, especially if you're in a camping situation and you don't know where the heck you are. It can be extremely helpful to help you get to the place to recover your pet. And then the other thing is that with our premium service, you can do essentially an Amber Alert. you can go in and create a missing pet alert, put the last place that your pet was found, any other information additional information that needs to be done. We give you an opportunity there to also update your profile. So like if you're at a campsite or whatever, you can say the campsite number that you're at and the phone number of the lodge or whatever kind of information you need to put in there at that point, and update the picture too if you need to have a more recent picture in there. And then we send out a virtual lost pet poster in a 50-mile radius of where the pet was lost to all the shelters and the rescues and the pet care facilities and things like that, because those are the places that pets will get brought, especially if the collar has fallen off. Because that does happen, because people say, well, what happens if the collar falls off and the tag is useless? Well, the system is not useless. The tag may not be there anymore, but we do have our missing pet alert system that goes out in that virtual lost pet poster. So that's part of the lost pet recovery stuff. Plus, you can also share it on any one of the social media platforms. You can share that virtual lost pet poster and it stays updated. So it's a link. So it's not like a poster that you printed out. And so if you guys have to change locations or what have you, or add a new phone number or add new details, you just change it on the pet's profile and the link stays the same. So it's the missing pet information is just updated automatically there, which is very convenient, especially when you're in a camping situation where things change rapidly.
Yeah.
And then the other part of the premium that's pretty darn cool, and it's growing now, is stuff that's not related to lost pet stuff at all. It's our perks and our reward system. So we realize that, hey, protect is the big part of what we started with, but share and nurture are the other key parts of who we are, because we wanted it to be a place that you could manage a lot of different parts of your pet's life. So share, coming soon, like probably by the end of this year, you're going to be able to share that information with pet sitters, veterinarians, whoever you want within your trusted care circle. You'll be able to send that information and say like, hey, like let's say that you want to sign up for a brand new dog walking app. You'll be able to say, hey, PetHub, you have this dog walking app that you're working with. I want to sign up for them. Share that information to them. And then that information will be kept up to date. So that's something we're getting ready to launch in the next year. Very exciting. So you heard it here first. Nice. But then the nurture part is where our perks and rewards come in. We have trusted partners that we've taken through a bunch of criteria, and we've vetted them to make sure that they're folks that we trust their products. We believe in what they do. They're good people. And we then extend these great offers, that a lot of times exclusive offers that you can't get anyplace else, to our membership to help you nurture your pets and give them the best life. Because we're in a unique position. A lot of people that come to us are coming to us with brand new pets that they've just adopted, new puppies, what have you. And they've trusted us with all this information to keep their pets safe and get them home should they be lost. We also want to help them. We know, because we're a trusted resource, we also want to be able to help them, give them the best life. So we're sharing with you guys what we found out there that is really the best, latest, greatest practices and products for your pets.
That's really cool that it's all linked in one location too. I'm assuming you don't have to go to different websites to take advantage of all that. It's all located in one.
Yeah, it's all located in one place. I mean, obviously, if like you want to, like, let's say that there's a dog food service, pet food service that, they make custom food for you, which there are really cool services out there now that do this. We have the partnerships with several of them. You can come on to pethub.com. You'll get this really great offer through it. You are able to link to that external site through PetHub with this great offer. Then you get those savings there. So obviously you have to go on to that other site to get the stuff, but everything you need as far as like understanding what the product is, the deal, and how, and how to redeem it and everything that they're on PetHub. And as we continue to grow out the share and nurture part of what we're doing, that's just going to get more and more robust and rich for you as a pet parent to really help you manage your pet's life in one central location.
Do you have any idea of the number of pets that have been returned through using your service?
That is a great question. And it's a tricky one too. So I'm going to kind of break it down a little bit, because the stats and data are really important to us, and we want to be as transparent as we possibly can. There are multiple ways to get lost pets home through our service. So number one, person can scan the tag. They see the pet parent's information. I mean, you know this, Kenny, you get to choose what's shown publicly and what's shown privately. If you've said, hey, you know what, I don't care, I want them to know absolutely everything about me and my location and my phone numbers, they can actually contact you directly to get Bella home. So we don't actually touch that transaction of getting the pet returned at all. And so those we have to rely on self-reports. So for those there, we don't know the full numbers, but we get dozens of self-reports every week. So if we extrapolate that that's only a certain percentage, then we can extrapolate what it is for the other parts. We do track every lost pet that's reunited through our found pet hotline. And that's where it's exciting, because of those pets that we've reunited through our found pet hotline, we know that 96% of those pets are home in 24 hours or less, and less than 2% of them have ever hit a shelter door. And that's critical, because that saves time, money, and lives to never hit that shelter door. And then the other way that folks can get pets home is through like the missing pet alert system, right? And that's another one that we can track and find out, did those pets get home through that virtual lost pet poster? So there's multiple ways that pet can get home. So through the ones that we definitely have statistics on, the ones that we have self-report on, we've extrapolated all together. We know that it's over 20,000 pets that have gotten home in the last 10 years from our system. We think it's probably closer to about 25,000 pets, but based on really reliable stats, we think it's about 20,000 pets.
That's incredible. That's great.
It is incredible.
How many pets are in your system?
We are approaching 700,000.
Wow.
We get 700 to 800 new pets on the website every single day. And for a lot of people, they come to us through either their pet license through their municipality, or through their rabies tag. That's also through their veterinarian or their municipality. And then there's folks like you guys who come to us direct, who say, like, I want this really great technology for my pet. So you can get a PetHub ID tag a lot of different ways. And then we also have folks that have come to us through things like, we have a suite of lost pet recovery tools that are identification products, rather, that are through this thing called the Ready Kit. And so some people have actually come to us through disaster preparedness workshops, where our Ready Kit has been at this workshop. So it has an ID tag that you guys are familiar with, or the built-in collar. It has a wallet card. So imagine, people say to us all the time, my pet never gets lost. She never leaves my side. And I say, well, you're right here now at the bank and your pet's not with you. Oh, well, she's at home. She's fine. Well, what happens if something happens to you? Or what happens if there was a fire in your house and then the pet broke out? Or there's all these things that could have happened, right? But what happens if something happened to you? So our wallet card and the keychain card that goes with it alert first responders that you have a pet home alone. And it links to that exact same profile that you set up for your pet. So it's the exact same safety circle and the information that they would need to be able to help the pet, and probably, frankly, help you if you're in a car accident or something. The people that are on your safety circle are probably the people that you want to meet you at the hospital as well. So there's that. And then there's also a crate card, which for you guys should be really interesting. This goes on the outside of whatever their travel crate is. Again, car accident or something like that where you're incapacitated. It has the information on the outside of the crate so that they don't have to reach in and touch the scared dog to get to their ID tag. It links to the exact same profile. It's also really critical in situations where we have like evacuations with hurricanes or fires or things like that, where you're having to take your animal to a shelter that's different because they don't allow animals at the people's shelter. Usually the local humane society will have large facilities there. Again, it allows them to quickly identify your pet without having to open up the crate, which immediately creates a lost pet risk, and handle the pet to get to the ID tag that's inside. So the crate card, wallet card, key chain ID, and the ID tag, and then a sticker, a little window cling that goes on the outside of your house that says how many animals are inside. So again, that disaster situation, I mean, we saw this a lot with hurricanes down there in the South. They would go into houses not knowing if there were animals there because there were signs that there might be animals at the location, and they would go in to try to save them. But if you have something on the outside of your house, what we recommend that people do is, like, if you leave with your animals, take that window cling off so that they're not going in and looking for the animal. But if you're not able to be at home and your animal was stuck in the house, at least there's a chance that the first responders will know to get in and help get your animals out. So anyway, some people do come to us through the Ready Kit, and that's always exciting for us because they really are getting this full protection program from PetHub.
You guys are really thinking outside of the box with that wallet card. I would have never thought about that. That's a great idea.
Well, and I don't know that it's a brand new idea. I mean, a lot of people have wallet cards that, if they have a medical condition or something like that, to tell first responders that they have this and how to contact their folks. So for us, it was a pretty easy jump to go to, well, what about for our pets?
Yeah.
So.
I don't take the credit. I think that's really thinking outside of the box.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
And I don't think people realize just how quickly you can lose a pet. I mean, most pets are faster than we are, but tenfold.
Oh yeah.
And just how easily some pets are spooked. I know Belle during 4th of July, every 4th of July, we're extra careful with her because she does not like, she doesn't like thunder. So of course she's not going to like fireworks, and she gets extra spooked. She's extra jumpy and a little quicker than usual. So I think this is a great service and something that people probably don't realize how important it is until they're in that situation and that sheer terror of losing a pet. We've had Belle run out of a cabin once before when we first got her. We never had it. Belle's our first dog. So we just didn't really realize. We opened the door and she saw a squirrel and ran right under my leg and right out the door into the woods where we couldn't. I mean, she's lightning fast into the woods. I remember I turned to Sabrina. I said, Belle just ran outside and I don't even know which direction she went in. Like that's how fast it was. Luckily she did return, but
and thank goodness, right? But to your point, Kenny, I think it's really important as pet parents to be a responsible pet parent. You need to be thinking about prevention. A lot of people think about like, how do I find my pet once they're lost? And we actually started, it's every July, we started this in 2014, Lost Pet Prevention Month, because we wanted folks to start having a conversation about what do you need to do to hopefully prevent the getting lost from even happening. And should they get lost, you've got as many things in place that will help you find them quickly. Because of course, preparation is everything, right? And you know this from being RVers and out on the road. If you're not prepared, if you don't have that toolkit really stocked, well, you're going to be up a creek. So you want to have a really solid toolkit in place for your pets should they go missing, because the statistics don't lie. 1 in 3 pets will go missing during their lifetime, and over 10 million pets go missing every single year. And microchips aren't going to stop pets from going missing. ID tags aren't going to stop pets from going missing. So they're going to get lost. They're going to go missing. So we have, you can go to lostpetprevention.com. You can go to pethub.com and go to our tips and tales blog, and you'll see all the types of lost pet prevention things that we have. But it goes down to training, Houdini proofing your living area and the outside area. Are you using really good quality gear like collars and leashes and things like that? I mean, not all collars are made the same, and some of them might be really, really cute, but they're really not helping keep your pet safe. And so, all of these things, like I mentioned earlier, that some people don't want to wear collars, and that what I do understand. There's a lot of reasons why people may not want their pets to wear collars. Well, one of our partners is a brand new partner, actually. It's called Undercollar, and undercollar.com, they actually license the PetHub technology onto their collars that are not real collars. They're actually like underwear for your pets that go along the neck, but it's a cloth. It's a piece of cloth that's stretchy and will give, and it's so there's not a choke hazard there and things like that. But the QR code is embedded into that, so that if you have a pet for whatever reason, dangling, jingling tags or whatever aren't working for them, or they don't want to wear a standard collar for whatever reason, they're tiny for one thing, this is a great solution. So I would encourage everybody to, if you have a pet right now, just to take some time to actually start thinking of, what do I know about my pet and his or her propensity for getting lost? Like, why would they go? Are they squirrel driven? Are they afraid of things, that loud noises? Have they have stranger danger, fear, anxiety there? Do they get anxiety when I'm not around? Or are they just so darn friendly? They want to go meet everybody, and you open up they're like, hey, there's a party outside. I want to go join. Like knowing your pet's personality, making sure that the training is matching what your pet's personality is, and all these different kinds of things, taking the time now while everything's calm to get ahead of the game, prevent, learn about all the different things you can do. Should that moment happen and your pet is one of the 3 that goes missing, you have as many tools in your tool belt as you can to start fixing the problem.
Funny, I could check yes to every single one of those.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
including stranger danger, and yes, she wants to meet every single person too, all at the same time.
Totally get it.
So you mentioned you have the tags. You just mentioned a few things that you have for the pets, the tags, the window clings, the wallet card, And you mentioned something earlier about a collar with the technology in it
Yeah.
that you have.
So, and actually, so the undercollar is our current partner that we have. Some folks might have had a collar from a previous iteration, I guess, of PetHub that we did. We had a really great partnership with an amazing company out of North Dakota called Dog IDs. They did an tag that was woven into the collar, and it's something that I hope comes back in the future. It ended up being cost prohibitive because they're expensive to make. They're incredibly high quality collars, and from a retail perspective, the cost was too high, and people balked at spending $40 to $45 on a collar, even though they shouldn't. Because if you're really getting a great quality collar that will last the lifetime of the pet, then you should be paying $35 to $50 for that collar. But we're in this cost conscious society where people are, they're used to going to the big department store, and they're paying $5.99 knockoffs from overseas or what have you. Yeah. And this is the best collar or quality. It might be cute, and you might have a range of cute colors that you get to wear with all these different designs or whatever. And I get that. I mean, I had a little Boston Terrier who was a fashionista. I get it. Okay. But at the end of the day, especially if you have a dog that is a runner, that's a big outdoor enthusiast dog, that kind of thing, you owe it to yourself and to that dog to get a really high quality collar on there. And Dog IDs is a great company for that. And so they did a wonderful integration with us, and we hope to be able to revisit it again in the future. But the cost was really high. But there's a lot of people out there still with those Dog ID collars because they last forever. So yeah, that was what I was talking about there.
And so how do people get those, either the QR code on the tag or
right? So how do they come and get a PetHub tag? Basically, yeah. How do they get? So the easiest way, unless you live in a community that has pet licensing, that does pet licensing through PetHub, which is the easiest way to get it done. But if you want to get a PetHub tag directly from us or one of our ready kits, you just go to pethub.com, click on the shop button, and we'll take you right there. Well, also, if you are interested in like the undercollar, there's a couple other really cool tag companies that license our technology that do really beautiful tags that look like jewelry and stuff like that. Like, you can also link to them from our site too, but pethub.com and just click on the shop link.
So how does the city licensing or the county licensing, how does that work? Yeah.
So we are helping community by community, helping them come into the 21st century by replacing those stamp metal ID tags that are the vast majority of pet licenses. And so we work with the community. We are very competitive with price, which a lot of times for an animal shelter, they don't have money to spend. So we work very hard to make it so that it's affordable for them. And then we help them create an ID tag that reflects the community. It's usually got some beautiful artwork, either from the shelter or the community on the front. So it's actually a tag that people want to put on their pet rather than those ugly stamp metal ones. And then it links to a free online pet profile on the back. And the number that is on the QR code is your license number. So and the way we deliberately built our system so that we could streamline into any existing system, and you don't have, there are digital ID tag programs out there where you have to work within this small range of what they can do. And we realized we had to build our system so it would be agnostic and we could work with as many systems as possible, because our ultimate goal is to protect pets and to get affordable ID tags onto every pet in the United States, so that we're no longer just relying on the microchip or a stamped piece of metal that will wear out. So we try to make it as much of a no-brainer as possible for the community. So if you have people in the community that are listening, that are wanting to know how to get their pet licenses in their community switched over to PetHub ID tags, just drop us a line. You can always email us at info@pethub.com, and we'll put you in touch with the right people, and then we'll talk to your community about it.
And so, sorry, Kenny, I know you have more questions, but I just had one more thought. Like, when we go to RV parks, it seems like every time you go to a new RV park, they want you got to have proof of vaccinations and things like that. That could all be linked through that QR code then?
100%. So if you have a pet license through pethub.com, a lot of times that's all you'll need, because most pet licenses in most communities are linked to your rabies vaccination. So that's number one benefit of getting licensed. The other thing is that you can link any documents that you'd like to your PetHub profile. And we have a ton of people that have their rabies vaccination documents and their certificate linked to their profile. You can also put just the information into the actual fields. There's a place that you can put all vaccinations, not just your rabies vaccination record, onto the pet's profile. Some places, though, do require to see the vaccination certificate. So you can just take a picture of it and load it up to your profile and show it whenever you need to.
That's great, man. That's a clever idea right there.
Well, it's part of the world that we're living into, and we're hoping that, as the technology continues to advance and the pet industry gets more and more technologically savvy, which it is, that we're able to start doing more and more of this through just tech and not having to have the physical piece of paper that you have to keep track of.
Yeah.
I was curious, other than cats, dogs, they're the two that probably come to mind right away. What are some other animals, maybe strange or exotic or anything like that, that you've heard of people using the service with?
So I love this question. So I will say that people have tried to put it on their children. There was one several years ago that we get notifications whenever new pets come on, which now when we get 700 to 800 new a day, we can't keep up with. But at the time when we first started, it was like, everyone that was joining was like, yay. And we had a 9-year-old, we assumed dog, named Jeremy. And we're like, that's an interesting name for a dog. And when we looked at the thing, it was a 9-year-old young boy. And it was like, so other than the few human children that we then encourage them to take them off because we don't meet HIPAA compliance. But we have horses. A lot of equine providers actually use our ID tags and provide them for their full stables. We have goats, pigs. We have, actually probably one of my favorites are tortoises. So I don't know when it got shared, but we have a number of sulcata and other types of tortoises that actually have our tag epoxied to the outside of their shell. And we have one frequent flyer in Sedona, Arizona. His name is Bowser. He is a huge sulcata, and he has gotten home with our ID tag at least 3 times. And I'll never forget the first time that it was called into our call center and somebody said, "Hi, I found a turtle." And so it's so funny. We immediately had to call the pet parent and say, like, "Oh my God, can we share this story?" And she's like, "Yeah, please do." She actually got it when she had heard about our tags through a sulcata group. And apparently Bowser breaks out often. He bulldozes through the end of the fence. And so that's apparently a common thing for those guys.
I would have never thought about a tortoise getting away. I don't know why, but I just don't.
Yeah, apparently it's actually an issue. So we protect. We are Pet Hub. We're not Cat and Dog Hub. We are equal opportunity. We used to say fur kids, but now we've got scale kids and feather kids and all these kind of things. Although we've never had one on a bird that we know of.
Oh, okay. And then if somebody were to find a lost pet and they see the tag, but they don't have a cell phone, what can they do without having a phone?
You can look it up on any computer. So if you were able to get because there's a human readable URL on every ID tag. So you don't have to have a QR scannable smart device in order to get it. But you can also, assuming you have just, what do they call them? Dumb phones now? I don't know. Because it gets the smartphones. But anyway, the old-fashioned cell phone. Isn't that odd? You can also just call the 24/7 call center phone number that's on the tag.
Okay, that's perfect. Because everybody has at least a cell phone.
Yeah,
not everybody, I guess, has a smartphone yet, but at least everybody has a cell phone.
It's incredible though. When we first started, I think it was like 42% of adults had smartphones in the United States, and now it's like almost 90%. So it's pretty prevalent that everybody has a smartphone at this point. And most of the smartphones now, it used to be you had to have a QR scanner app that you use, but now pretty much everything that's been made since 2018 and beyond, you just point the camera at it and it recognizes it as a QR. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like your website. There's a lot of free information on there. One of the coolest things I saw on there though was the new pet feature. And
Yeah.
it's just cool to look and see the personality that even goes into the photos that people link to their account. I'm assuming that's where you pull it from.
Yeah, well, and yeah, I tell you, that's internally, that's one of our favorite features. It's delightful to hear that actual customers are out there looking at that too, because internally, I think I go on that every 3 or 4 days just to kind of see the pets. Because like you say, I mean, like some of them are hilarious. Some of the names are absolutely delightful, like Master Snuffleupagus of Hillsdale proper, or like whatever. It's like so hilarious. And you read some of the about behavior things, they're pretty hilarious. And some of them are pretty racy too. A lot of fun for the not suitable for work shares, where people are like, oh my God, did you hear what they said about their cat? It's really funny stuff. So it's fun to see. And of course, it's only showing if people have chosen to show it, but it's a lot of fun. And it kind of gives you an idea of how we are with our pack members, is what we call them. We believe that protection is super important. We take it very seriously. We hope that you find us reliable and trustworthy. But at the end of the day, we're in this because we love our pets. And because when we hear about wonderful things with pets, we go, we all get goofy and silly, and we talk in baby voices with our pets, just like every other adult does, admit it, kind of thing. And they bring a level of joy to our lives that we hope we can bring that level of joy into what people find when they come to PetHub, even though you're coming to us to help initially protect your pet if they get lost.
Yeah, I think if anybody is thinking about going on the website and getting started with PetHub, definitely check out that section of the website, because it is pretty fun to watch. I found myself like 20 minutes scrolling through there.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome.
I would imagine in your position that you get a lot of like, what would the term be? Feel good stories or feel good customer response. That's got to be a reward, I would imagine, all in its own.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit farther removed from it now than I was when we first started. I mean, when we first started, it was 4 of us, and we were the ones picking up the phone and everything like that. I mean, I'll never forget. I don't know. This is maybe about 2012, 2013. Got a call in the middle of the night. We took the nighttime calls and about a lost pet, and had to call the pet parent, and he did not believe that his pet was missing. And he hung up the phone on us, and we called him again. And I literally convincing this guy, like, no, sir, your pet is at such and such place. And it was outside of Plano, Texas. And he was yelling at me, and he's like, oh, fine, I'll go out and check the backyard. And then the next thing he's like, oh my God, the door's open, like you can hear all the yelling, stuff like that. And so I connected the two, and I'm hearing the talk. And it was really like to hear that kind of joy. I mean, it was wonderful. We've had times where we're connecting the call and a kid answers the phone, and we're telling them, we have somebody on the other line who believes they found your pet, and the joy that comes from that. I mean, it's hard to not get totally overwhelmed with the emotion. And I think probably my favorite story, and this to me is like the quintessential why PetHub is so important. We had a woman who left her dog with her mother, and she went on a trip to Spain. And she was literally in Chicago O'Hare, realized, oh, shoot, I forgot to change and put my mother's phone number on the PetHub tag. So she, on her smartphone, gets onto the website, puts her mother on the top of the contact list, gets on the plane, flies to Spain. 14, 15 hours later or whatever, she lands, connects to Wi-Fi at the hotel, and her phone blows up. She's got text messages, she's got emails. First text messages is, oh my God, Missy got out, all these things. She's like, oh, but she's like continuing to read. Oh, thank God, somebody just called me. Okay, I've got her now. We're all good. All this happened while she had been in the air, and her mom had gotten the emails and texts. Her mom had gotten the phone call. I mean, Missy was found within an hour after running out, and called, and immediately. And Missy's in a different town, like a couple towns away, like all these reasons why a standard ID tag that had your cell phone number would not have worked. Yeah. And Missy would have been 15, 16 hours lost before she had even had access to her phone, had it been her old tag that just had her cell phone number on it. So that to me is like the quintessential, this is why you need a tag like PetHub.
Yeah, and we wanted to have you on because, with RVers, our life sometimes every week you're moving and changing and being able to keep up with just, all the stuff used to protect your pet. This seems like a pretty good solution, like a one-stop shop for updating all that information. And now that we know that you could have images of your vaccinations on there, or even if you license your pet through your county, I mean, that makes life even so much easier, just not having to track pieces of paper every time you go somewhere. So it's really great idea. I really like what you guys are doing, and we tested it out on Kenny's dog, so it works really well.
It works, and it works really fast.
Yeah, I love hearing that. I love hearing that, because that's why we built it, is to be fast and reliable.
Yes,
So before we let you go, is there anything that we might have missed that you want to talk about?
I don't, honestly, I don't think so. I feel like we covered a lot of different things. I would just really highly encourage people to go on to our website, learn about what we do. I'm going to throw out a coupon code that's been out there forever, but it's one that we will always honor. It's called PetHub Love, LUV. So PETHUB LUV. It's 20% off our ID tags, and give you a chance to try them out and to see if you like them. And if you choose to upgrade to our premium solution, there's a special welcome code that you get when you first log in. So make sure you use that code and you get a little discount at the beginning. And it's very affordable, $4 a month or $24 a year. So to get a lot of really great extra coverage and extra peace of mind if your pet should go missing. So anyway, that's all I'd say.
Okay. Well, thank you so
Awesome.
much for taking the time to come on and chat with us. This was a lot of fun and very informative.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
We want to thank Lorien for coming on the show and explaining all the great features, as well as the history of PetHub. I can tell you, as a customer of PetHub, they offer way more than I realized, and I learned a lot from this interview, especially how the service can help you recover your pet even if the tag gets removed while the pet is lost. If you have a pet, we definitely recommend going to pethub.com and checking out all they have to offer, including comparing their free and premium services. I really enjoyed hearing the passion for pet safety in Lorien's voice, and wish her and the company continued success. As always, we would like to thank our sponsors, Battleborn Batteries. Battleborn Batteries just recently added 2 new batteries to their lineup, which now offer 270 amp hours of capacity per battery. You can learn more at battlebornbatteries.com. Take care, everyone, and we want to wish you all safe travels.